Hello, my friends, Evolutionary Energy Arts family.
Welcome back.
We have seen some intense flooding all over all over the world, guys. Look at this flooding going on over in Libya.
This is so terrible. I mean, I look at this and I cringe like crazy. Every time I see something like this and we're watching the video and I know that there's a human being there just struggling, it's like I have a hard time breathing. I can't imagine being where they're at right now.
This is actually in Libya's fourth largest city, and the power of water, don't underestimate it. As we've said, we look at the earthquakes, we look at the wildfires and everything, but pretty much every single year, it's water that takes the most lives. It's flooding. And so it could be absolutely devastating. And again, Libya is mostly desert.
Yeah, it is. It is. So this is really insane.
It is, but we were talking to a family over in Nevada, and where they hardly ever get snow, and they got snow.
Yeah, in a place it's like near Death Valley.
Yeah, right around Death Valley. Changing times, and everything is so extreme. And I wouldn't do this with a Lamborghini. I wouldn't do it with any car.
Me either. It's so beautiful though. Look at that thing go. Yep, it's like a little guppy fish. Just swim.
Yeah, and I'm thinking that is Florida here, and yeah, Florida, South Florida. I've seen a lot of Lamborghinis, believe it or not, down around Naples. There's definitely some wealthy people down there.
Indeed, indeed.
But I would not recommend using a Lamborghini as a submarine.
I wouldn't do it either. No, I wonder if he's just borrowing it, maybe.
Yeah, well, whoever owns it then is not going to be too happy when he sees that video. So we have a monster landslide buries dozens of people and houses in up to 50 feet of mud, 50 feet of mud deep in Guatemala. As you see, look at that truck just driven into the backside of a building and just kind of smushed. But that's what will happen when you have that type of saturation. So you had torrential downpours that ripped through parts of a mountainside village. And this is in Guatemala again, burying dozens of people in their homes in 15 meters of mud. 21 people dead have been dug out. According to officials, there are still more than 100 people missing. Let's send our prayers and love to everyone over there. Right now, they've stopped looking because the situation is too dangerous. And this is actually a church that they've turned into a morgue. So this is really, really sad. It's horrible. And there was somebody that said, made a comment saying, why did you leave North Carolina? Well, I did feel this in North Carolina, that there could be a lot of these type of events when it gets saturated. Like where I was living, I was on a big hill, on the mountain. And yeah, I could see where stuff like that would happen. And like where we've been out west, even though we're at much higher altitude, at the same time, the mountains are kind of distant. They're not going to fall on you.
Right. They're more of like rock formations. So.
And they're also, there's so much plateau.
Yes.
Like, the Colorado Plateau, for instance, your mean average high is your base elevation, I should say, is like 6 to 7,500 feet in most of the Colorado Plateau. But then there are mountains that go 10, 12, even 14 or more 1,000 feet high. But it's not like you're living necessarily right on the mountain. And there's plenty of places to be at a high elevation without being on top of a mountain that could end up falling down on top of you. And again, this was due to tropical storm / Hurricane Eta, who is still in play as well. And Eta made landfall in Florida on the Keys after leaving more than 235 people dead in Central America.
Oh, we really need to send our intention for this thing to dissipate.
Well, it's probably not going to get very strong, but these are crazy times. It was a Category 4 hurricane when it made landfall, and then the problem is it didn't move too fast, and it just saturated areas, and that's why you get the mudslides and things along those lines. And so, currently maximum sustained winds have been, right in that 65, 70-ish. So it's not really the wind, again, it's the water. and the way it's moving. So heavy rainfall from Eta will continue across portions of Cuba, Jamaica, and the Bahamas in southern Florida and spread north into central Florida. That's according to the National Hurricane Center. Life-threatening flash flooding will be possible across inundated urban areas of southeast Florida today. Flash and urban flooding will also be possible for Cuba, Jamaica, and the Bahamas, remainder of southern Florida as well, along with potential minor river flooding in central Florida. Tropical storm conditions will continue across portions of the Florida Keys and south and central Florida today. Water levels will gradually recede along portions of the southern coast of the Florida Peninsula and Keys. Residents in these areas should follow any advice given by local officials. Now, Eta could approach the Florida Gulf Coast later on this week as a tropical storm and possibly bring impact from rain, wind, and storm surge. So we got to monitor that. And when we look at, this is changing all the time, really. You're looking at My Fox Hurricane, their spaghetti models, and we see, well, we're looking at Louisiana, possibly Mississippi, possibly Alabama. It could be up in the Panhandle. It could even go straight through Tampa and then head over to the Carolinas.
I know. I was just thinking Louisiana again.
So it's up in the air right now, really, and you could see this thing's going to be with us, for a while longer here, as it should be just approaching perhaps the Panhandle landfall. Sometime late Thursday into Friday. We're going to just have to watch it. It's been a crazy year.
It really, really has.
And so, when you get crazy, might as well dance, right? I mean, I think he's in South Florida too. That does look like South Florida. But, hey, he's making the best of it. Mm-hmm. Hopefully he doesn't fall and doesn't get too wet. And you never know if there's going to be a gator going by.
Oh, gosh, that would be scary.
That's one of the things to keep in mind down there. And we have Tropical Storm Etal and nearing Vietnam. Landfall expected on November 10th. And we were talking about feeling bad for Louisiana. I feel bad for Vietnam. They've been hammered this year. And so this is going to be the 12th storm to strike Vietnam this year. And they've had 21 named storms of the 2020 Pacific typhoon season. So Vietnam's been, right in the crosshairs.
Yeah. Those poor folks.
So, not a exceedingly strong storm, but again, it's all about the water. Right now, Etal's maximum 10-minute sustained winds were about 45 miles an hour, and you had gusts up to about 70 miles an hour. But, hey, when it's inundated and you've had a dozen storms like this, a dozen tropical storms, you're going to get the same sort of conditions that we saw that produced the mudslides.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
And by the way, all-time November snow records were broken for parts of the Canadian prairies. And, it's been just a roller coaster this year, absolute roller coaster. Strong low-pressure system brought blizzard conditions, heavy snow, and freezing rains to parts of the Canadian prairies on the 7th and 8th, shutting down roads in Saskatchewan and Alberta, and setting new all-time snow records for November. While heavy snow fell in western parts of Saskatchewan, its eastern regions experienced freezing rain, which could be very, very dangerous with black ice, obviously.
I wouldn't want to be there.
Yeah. So you have different towns setting records, such as 18.7 inches of snow in Kindersley in Saskatchewan. And that was also a 48-hour snowfall record. So records are breaking all over the place. It's just been a whiplash scenario because you get the record warmth and unusual temperatures, and all of a sudden the Arctic blast comes down. It's all thanks to the magnetosphere, really.
It's true. That pendulum is swinging super big, wide.
Yeah, and actually, cosmic ray penetration in 2020 is the highest that we've recorded.
Wow, yeah.
That's going to affect a lot of things, including our consciousness.
A lot, yep.
So, guys, as always, thanks for your support. Let's send out prayers to everyone that's going through these earth changes. And we might as well throw in some prayers for peace and cool heads in the United States and around the globe, too, as we still have a lot to go through by the time we get to the end of the year here.
Yes, let's just take, even 20 minutes out of your day and send those good vibrations where they need to be.
Yes. And as always, guys, God bless and namaste.
Namaste.